Hey everyone, let's talk about something serious today. Teenage mental health, specifically depression and suicide. It's affecting more and more young people every day. We're seeing an alarming rise in depression and suicidal thoughts among teenagers. These are our kids, our friends, our siblings. They're facing pressures and anxieties. This isn't about overreacting to typical teenage angst. Early intervention is crucial. It's about being there for them, listening without judgment. Understand the warning signs and know what to do. It's on all of us to create a support system that makes a difference. Let's talk numbers for a second. Statistics help us grasp the scale of what we're dealing with. Studies show a significant increase in teenagers feeling persistent sadness and hopelessness. This trend is particularly alarming among teenage girls. We need to address this head-on. It's not just teenage drama, it's real and impacting a generation. These numbers are a wake-up call. We need immediate action. Start conversations about mental health at home and in schools. Behind every statistic is a real person in pain. We must offer support and create a safety net. Now, it's important to remember that depression isn't just about feeling sad occasionally. It's a serious mental health condition that affects a person's thoughts, feelings, behavior, and even physical health. It's more than just a phase or a bad day. It's a persistent feeling of emptiness, hopelessness, and worthlessness that can be incredibly isolating. And what's even more concerning is that depression is often a precursor to suicidal thoughts and behaviors. It's like this downward spiral that can feel impossible to escape from without the right support and intervention. That's why recognizing the warning signs early on is so crucial. We need to be vigilant and pay attention to changes in behavior, withdrawal from social activities, sudden drops in academic performance, or even changes in sleeping and eating habits. These are all potential red flags that shouldn't be ignored. But even more importantly, we need to create an environment where teenagers feel safe and comfortable talking about their mental health without fear of judgment or stigma. Open communication is key, and it's something we'll discuss in more detail later on. Let's face it, being a teenager is tough. There's so much pressure to fit in, succeed academically, and navigate social circles. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. As parents, we must be observant of our children's emotional well-being, differentiate between typical mood swings and signs of something more serious. Create an open and trusting relationship. Look out for changes in behavior, energy, sleep, or eating habits. Trust your gut instinct. If something feels off, it probably is. And it's not just parents who play a vital role in early identification. Educators are often on the front lines, witnessing firsthand the struggles that teenagers face. Teachers, guidance counselors, and school staff are uniquely positioned to observe changes in behavior and academic performance that might indicate a need for mental health support. They spend a significant amount of time with these students, interacting with them in a different context than their parents might. They see them in their social circles, observe their interactions with peers, and witness their academic engagement or lack thereof. Schools should be equipped with the resources and training to identify early warning signs of depression and suicidal ideation. This includes providing professional development opportunities for teachers, implementing mental health awareness programs, and establishing clear protocols for referring students to appropriate mental health services. Creating a supportive and inclusive school environment is essential for fostering positive mental health. This means promoting open communication, addressing bullying and harassment, and celebrating diversity and inclusivity. When teenagers feel safe and supported at school, they're more likely to thrive academically, socially, and emotionally. So we've talked about the alarming statistics and the signs to look out for, but what can we actually do? One of the most powerful tools we have in combating teenage depression is friends. Teenagers often turn to their peers first when they're struggling. Someone who gets it, who's going through similar things. That can make all the difference. Just being there can be enough. How can you be a good friend to someone struggling? Show up and listen without judgment. Encourage them to talk, but don't push. Sometimes silence is more comforting than words. Let them know you're there, no matter what. Listen without interrupting or offering advice. If they mention suicide, take it seriously. Talk to a trusted adult and encourage them to do the same. Being a good friend means showing up and offering support without judgment. Okay, let's talk about social media. Social media is a double-edged sword for teenagers' mental health. It connects friends and offers mental health resources. But it can also fuel anxiety, depression, and cyberbullying. The pressure to present a perfect persona is exhausting, and cyberbullying can have devastating consequences. How do we navigate this digital landscape healthily? It starts with awareness. Be mindful of your online time and content. Engage with positive content. Curate your online spaces. Unfollow accounts that make you feel bad. Fill your feeds with inspiring content. Take breaks from social media. Disconnect to reconnect with the real world. Social media is just one facet of our lives. It doesn't define us. Encourage authenticity and human connection. Use social media to build each other up. The internet can be a powerful tool for good. You know, we often talk about mental health in hushed tones, like it's some big scary secret. But you know what's actually scary? Suffering in silence. So let's talk about the importance of open and honest communication, because that, my friends, is where the real change begins. Now, I know this can be tough. Teenagers aren't exactly known for their open and forthcoming nature, am I right? And sometimes talking about our feelings can feel awkward, vulnerable, even downright terrifying. But here's the thing, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be honest. Parents, guardians, mentors, teachers, we need to create safe spaces for teenagers to open up without fear of judgment or repercussions. That means really listening without interrupting or offering unsolicited advice. It means validating their feelings even if we don't fully understand them. Because here's the truth. Teenagers want to be heard. They want to know that their feelings matter, that their struggles are valid. And when we create an environment where they feel safe to open up, we open the door to connection, understanding, and ultimately healing. How do we start these conversations? It doesn't have to be a big dramatic sit-down. Meaningful conversations happen organically. Maybe you're driving, watching a movie, or doing the dishes. Create opportunities for connection, show genuine interest, and let them know you're there. Ask open-ended questions, listen actively, and resist jumping in with solutions. Teenagers, this goes both ways. Reach out to a trusted adult. Let them know what's going on. It might feel scary, but it's worth it. Breaking down walls creates empathy, understanding, and support. In an isolating world, connection makes a difference. Let's talk, listen, and be there for each other. Together, we can make a difference. Okay, let's talk about therapy. Therapy can feel like a big, scary word, but it can be a game changer. It's like having a coach for your brain. It's about learning coping mechanisms. Seeking help is a sign of strength. Everyone can benefit from therapy. Finding the right therapist is like finding the right pair of jeans. It might take some trial and error, but once you find the right fit, it's amazing. It's about finding someone you feel comfortable with, someone you trust. You can ask your doctor for referrals or search online for therapists in your area. Don't be discouraged if the first therapist isn't the perfect match. Therapy is a personal experience, so find someone who makes you feel heard. Stick with it because the benefits are worth the effort. Schools are like these mini-societies, right? They're not just about textbooks and exams. They're about learning, growing, and navigating the often turbulent waters of adolescence. And increasingly, Schools are becoming first responders in the mental health crisis facing young people. Think about it. Teachers and school staff often spend more time with students than their own families do during the week. They're on the front lines, witnessing firsthand the struggles and pressures teenagers face. This puts them in a unique position to identify early warning signs of mental health issues and connect students with the help they need. This is where school-based mental health programs come in. These programs can take many forms, from peer support groups and mental health awareness campaigns to on-site counselling services and partnerships with community organisations. The goal is to create a supportive and inclusive school environment where mental health is treated with the same importance as physical health. And let's be real, there's still a lot of stigma surrounding mental health, especially among young people. It can be tough to admit you're struggling, to feel like you're the only one. But when schools prioritise mental health, it helps normalise the conversation and break down those barriers. When students see their peers and teachers openly discussing mental health, it creates a sense of community and encourages help-seeking behaviour. It sends the message that it's okay to not be okay, and that asking for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Of course, school-based mental health programs aren't a one-size-fits-all solution. Every school and every community has unique needs and challenges. But by investing in these programs, we're investing in the well-being of our young people and creating a future where mental health is given the attention and resources it deserves. And that, my friends, is something worth fighting for. We often hear the phrase, "it takes a village to raise a child." Well, it also takes a village to support a teenager struggling with their mental health. Because here's the thing, schools can't do it alone, and neither can families. It requires a collective effort, a community-wide commitment to creating a safety net for our young people. Think about all the different groups and organisations that make up a community: faith-based institutions, youth groups, sports teams, libraries, community centres, even local businesses. Each of these entities can play a role in supporting teenage mental health. Imagine a local church hosting a support group for teenagers struggling with anxiety, or a library organising a workshop on stress management techniques, or a youth centre providing a safe and inclusive space for teens to connect and build relationships. These small but significant actions can make a world of difference. It's about creating a web of support, a network of resources that teenagers can tap into when they need it most. It's about fostering a sense of belonging and connectedness, so no young person feels alone in their struggles. Community support also means advocating for increased funding for mental health services, both at the local and national level. Because let's face it, mental health care can be expensive and often inaccessible, especially for marginalised communities. By working together, by pooling our resources and raising our voices, we can create communities where mental health is a priority, not an afterthought. We can build a future where every teenager, regardless of their background or zip code, has access to the support they need to thrive. And that's a future worth striving for. So, we've talked a lot about the serious stuff, the heavy stuff. And it is serious, right? But talking about it is important, being aware is important. But you know what else is important? Taking care of yourselves. It's like, imagine your mental health is this little fire, right? And depression, anxiety, they're like buckets of water trying to put it out. Self-care is adding fuel to that fire. And no, I don't just mean face masks and bath bombs, though those can be awesome. I mean the stuff that fuels your soul, the things that make you, you. Reading, drawing, listening to music, hanging out with your friends, the good ones obviously, playing video games, whatever it is that makes you feel lighter. Do those things. Schedule them in if you have to, because they matter. Okay, but let's get practical, right? What are some actual things you can do? Well, one thing is to get enough sleep. I know, easier said than done, right? But seriously, when you're sleep deprived, everything feels harder, even just existing. Another one? Exercise. I know, right? But it doesn't have to be running a marathon, just going for a walk, getting some fresh air. It can make a difference. And hey, maybe listen to a podcast while you're at it. Multitasking at its finest. Also food, we've all been there. Stress eating our feelings, but try to nourish your body with actual, nutritious stuff sometimes. It really does affect your mood. And finally, and this one is huge, learn to say no. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to please everyone. It's okay to set boundaries, to protect your energy, to focus on yourself sometimes. So, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From statistics to warning signs to self-care strategies, it's been a journey. But you know what else is a journey? Life. And it's a journey we're all on together, and that's why this next part is so important, because sometimes the best thing we can do is listen to each other, share our experiences, offer support, because you're not alone. Seriously, you're not. So down in the comments, I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you know struggled with depression or suicidal thoughts? What helped? What resources did you find useful? Because sharing our stories, even the hard ones, can be incredibly powerful. It can help us feel less alone, it can give us hope, and it can even save lives. Now, I know sometimes it's hard to know where to turn, especially if you're in a really dark place. So I'm going to put some resources in the description box below, places you can go for help, for yourself or for someone you love. There are hotlines you can call, websites you can visit, organizations that are dedicated to helping people just like you. Don't be afraid to reach out, to ask for help. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. And remember, even if you don't see it, even if you don't feel it, there is always hope, always. Keep fighting, keep reaching out, keep believing that things can and will get better. This has been a heavy video, I know, but it's important. Talking about mental health is important. Reaching out for help is important. Taking care of ourselves and each other is important. So, DFTBA, don't forget to be awesome to yourselves and to each other. And as always, I will see you on the internet.